My name's Ian and I'm an addict. I'm 13 months clean. I'd been homeless for about 3 years, constant cycle of drugs, prison, and it just got tiresome. I didn't come into recovery to get off of alcohol. I came in because I was homeless. So some bloke who was in outreach came and approached me in the council at Mansfield it was, and just told me about this place. It was in Nottingham, it was a dry house, and they'd help me move on. That was it. So I'd got a bed and I wasn't allowed to drink in the house. I went in for an assessment. I found out that it was a rehab, and I just fell in love with the place immediately. There was something in the sentiment, and the bloke who set it up, I could feel his philosophy, I could feel his reason for setting it up, I could feel his love and his care for it. The place was his baby. I mean, he's given it up now, like, past the baton. But yeah, there was just something in that first meeting, just sucked me straight into it, so I've not looked back. I attend meetings with the fellowship. I go there at least once a week. I take part in service there. I take part in a committee called Fun and Entertainment, which is where we set up little events within the fellowship itself. It's just a good reason for everybody to get together, promotes unity, promotes care, empathy. We like to look after each other, you know what I mean? But yeah, I've got that going on. I do courses. I've got health and social care and mentoring that I want to do to become a drug worker, so I'm paying a bit back, so to speak, because there's a line in the fellowship about it's been given to us freely, so we give it back freely, and well, that's essentially what I'm going to be doing. But then ultimately, I want to get paid for it. The biggest difference now is that I've got friends. Before, when I was in Mansfield, I got a lot of people around me who I thought I could trust, then learn different, mates, associates, and then just people that I really did not want to be spending time with and ended up doing, and it just left me, yeah, furious, really. I had no faith in humanity at all. I had no faith in myself. Since entering rehab, I've discovered that faith in humanity again. I've got people that I know that I can trust, that I know that I can respect, and off the back of those two factors, they've earned my love. And love was something I never did before. I still struggle with it today because it's a very big leap, you know what I mean? Because there is a lot of trust and respect in that, and I still am a little bit guarded, but yeah, I've made a lot of progress in the last 13 months, definitely. There's the principle just for today. It's very daunting to sit here as a fresh recovering addict. It'd be very difficult to say I'm never going to use ever again. You know what I mean? It's a big heap of pressure to put on yourselves and put on your own shoulders at such an early point. The concept of just for today is that everything is only for that 24-hour block. Any pressure that you've got, I don't have to use for the next 24 hours. You can say the very same thing tomorrow morning, but just for today, I'm going to stay clean. And it just eases people into recovery. I mean, I'm at a point now where I don't have to live just for today. The concept is there and very much alive in me, and I can tap into it anytime I need it. But I'm feeling a lot stronger now I'm over a year in. But it just makes things easier to deal with. Bite size. I mean, you're dealing with life bite size. Like my dad, he's been one of the biggest sufferers of my addiction, probably after me. I probably owe him about £1 million, borrowing, lying, stealing, blagging, all the crap that went with it. Yeah, big lot of regrets there, so I'm trying to pay it back. And yeah, I spend quite a bit of time with him. I go over and see him, and I make a point to take him something, to do something for him every time I go. I don't ask him for anything. I don't ask him for favours or money or anything. And I feel nice, and it makes me feel better when I leave there that I've done something without expecting something, because that's what I was all about before. That's all I did. I would not talk to you unless I thought I could get a couple of quid out of your pocket. It was that simple, you know what I mean? And I'm looking back at that. I mean, I didn't like being that person when I was that person. I really hate thinking that I was that person now I'm not. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it's just nice to be able to go around and not have that stress. I mean, I used to get the question in my head, like, the problem with like the obsessive compulsive disorder that is addiction is that incessant voice, like, oh, I want a drink, I want a drink, I want a drink, I want a drink, oh, asking for a drink, oh, asking for some money for a drink, like that, going over and over and over in my head, stops me being able to engage in a strong conversation with somebody. Whereas I've not got that going off in my head when I talk to my dad. I can just sit there and have a nice conversation with him and a laugh and a joke. And I mean, I'll be honest, I mean, he was never a father. He's a shit dad, but he's the best mate I ever had. And I don't need a father so much now. I'm 32, you know what I mean? But I could always stand another friend. And yeah, the way we bounce off each other, so it's good being able to solidify that a bit. Yeah, it's looking better. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked poetry. I mean, back from when I used to go into prison a lot, I used to pick the pen up and ideas and emotions would start to flow again because I've been took off the streets and off my substance of choice, whatever. And I used to like it. I mean, I tried writing short stories, but I've not got the discipline to write a story. But poetry, I can just get it out there. And yeah, we were doing poetry groups in the studio, and my key worker, who is the chair of F&E, which is why I went into F&E, because I got on with him. I've got a lot of love for the guy and a lot of time for him. He was doing the poetry groups. And well, there's a So Bar in town, the alcohol-free bar in Nottingham, and they do poetry nights. And henceforth, I am going to be coordinating that, which I'm quite glad about, and I found out about that yesterday, so that's quite good. But it's just not, because I struggle with emotions. I always did. I had two emotions and I used on both. I feel like shit. If I use, I'll feel better. Or I feel all right, I could feel better if I used. And that was it. That was my emotional level, very shallow. I'm getting it back a bit now. I can sort of understand and identify emotions a little better, but the way I convey them is still a bit lapsadaisical. But with poetry, it's like a bridge between me and the emotion. Because I centre myself here. Yeah, so it's my tool to be able to tell people who I am. Yeah. For people thinking about going into recovery, the first thing I'm going to tell you is to stop thinking. Your best thinking got you nowhere. Me, I came up with a line a few months back that suits me down to the ground. I think I know best, but I know I don't think best. Stop thinking and just do it. And just look at your life. If you're not liking what you see, change it. The best thing I ever did was enter the rehab just up the road there, and I've never looked back. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be back on the streets of Mansfield, sipping bottles of cider off a park bench, very much like this one, shouting at pigeons because they're the only things that I could call my friends at the time. There was nothing more depressing than that. And since I've come on leaps and bounds since I left rehab. I've actually got something that I could regard as a life rather than an existence. And so anybody who's thinking about changing their life, stop thinking and just do it. Do it and you won't look back. You hear a lot of people in recovery talk about, oh, I want to find the person I used to be. And I don't. I was always a twat. Since birth, I was born an addict. Impatience, intolerance, judgmental nature, very picky. I've always found something to distance myself from people. These are things that I'm working on today that are helping me come back to the human race. Well, join the human race. I don't want to be the person who I once was. I'm liking the person I'm finding. I've encompassed it with my friends, I think it is. It's just the people around me. We're like a family. I met a lot of people within that rehab, and I didn't come into rehab to meet mates. I didn't come into rehab to find recovery. I came in just because I was homeless, like I said, but I've gone in there and I've found a bunch of people that I've actually shared some deep, dark moments of my history with and not received the reception that I thought I would. That, Satan, get out of here, or whatever crap I suspected might have happened. And it's been nice to feel that I can be accepted for who I am, that people actually do know me, not the facade that I put up. And they still like me, and they still want to be part of my life and still want me to be part of theirs. I mean, that's priceless. Yeah, I love that. Love that.